Racial discrimination is described as treating someone unfavorably because he or she is of a certain race or skin color. It is International Day for Elimination of Racial Discrimination, and I would like to take this opportunity to remind us of our motto, out of many, one people. We are a people formed through the migration, and when you think about it, tribulation of many. Yet in that experience, we are one. Try to be respectful even when lacking knowledge. We may look different, but as humans, we are all the same. Let's be kind to everyone. Hello and welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Theodore Henry. Don't go anywhere. We have a wonderful show packaged just for you.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, March 21, 2023. The National Commission for Violence Prevention is now developing a 10-year evidence-based national action plan. The report is expected in the upcoming fiscal year, and recommendations will be used to institute legislative changes. The strategy will establish a level of governance and best practices that will activate a full national mobilization to control and reduce violence. The aim is to have this as a feature of the society. The process was explained by Prime Minister Andrew Holness during his recent presentation in the budget debate. He indicated that the objective was to create a social and cultural transformation of the Jamaican society and culture away from crime and violence.
Once we have this national plan, then we will be able to properly fund and deploy violence interrupters right across the country. Psychologists and social workers right across the country to be able to treat with the real problems, not just the symptoms which we see expressed on the surface as crime and violence, but the real problem of hate, of aggression, of low self-esteem, of inability to socio-emotionally regulate, of lack of respect for the inviolability of the physical person, the body of the person, and a lack of respect for life.
Prime Minister Holness is giving the assurance that government is working to bring a sustainable solution to crime and violence, which has become a public health epidemic and a threat to the proper functioning of the state. Still in Parliament, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says work is well advanced on the construction of the Port Royal Museum. Completion is projected for the end of May 2023.
Following that, the selected operators will build out the museum interior and displays. It is anticipated that the facility will be operational by December 2023.
According to Mr. Holness, in 2022, the Port Authority of Jamaica, PAJ, was instructed to develop the East Harbour as a cruise port. The PAJ was also directed to develop the land surrounding West and East Harbours, Titchfield Hill, Navy Island, Boundbrook, and the Folly lands. This is being done utilizing a public-private partnership framework to construct appropriate hotels, resorts, residences, shops, galleries, and restaurants.
The concept is to create a low-density, high-value, sustainable tourism product that is in keeping with the unique character of Portland. This long-term development will be the largest and most ambitious of its type in the region and will bring jobs and opportunity to the people of Portland.
The Prime Minister points out that the procurement process for the award of a consultancy contract to develop the master plan for the entire area is complete. The master plan is expected to be ready by September 2023, following which various components will be mobilized. Persons sourcing and using water distributed by private trucking companies are being urged to exercise caution to avoid potential health risks. The warning comes from the Ministry of Health and Wellness as the country is experiencing a meteorological drought. The ministry says water distributed by the National Water Commission, NWC, municipal corporations, or contracted private carriers is usually safe. These trucks are loaded at NWC or municipal corporation approved sources, namely reservoirs, wells, and distribution systems. Therefore, persons and commercial establishments purchasing water independent of the established national agencies must ensure that the providers are registered with the NWC, municipal corporations, and the parish health departments. The Health Ministry stipulates that vehicles transporting potable water must be clearly labeled, sanitized, free of leaks, affixed with clean hoses and fittings, and properly covered. Where a consumer is in doubt or the source cannot be verified, disinfecting of the water should be considered. Water can be treated by heating until it comes to a rolling boil with large bubbles continuously coming to the surface and maintained for 3 minutes. The St. James Health Department has extended its Mop-Up Catch-Up campaign until August 2023 as the Ministry of Health and Wellness moves to get more children immunized. The campaign supports the ministry's routine immunization program for the mandatory vaccines, targeting children who should have been vaccinated but for some reason missed their appointments. The Public Health Immunization Regulations of the Public Health Act specifies that all children under the age of 7 years must be adequately immunized before entering school. Children are being vaccinated against specified preventable diseases such as smallpox, pertussis or whooping cough, polio, and tetanus or lockjaw. They're also immunized against diphtheria, measles, mumps, rubella and congenital rubella syndrome, hemophilus, influenza type B, hepatitis B, and tuberculosis. Parents and guardians are being encouraged to ensure that children are immunized at the appropriate age levels. And finally, hundreds of students from high schools and colleges were recently exposed to 150 different professions within the tourism industry. The event was a Tourism Career Expo put on by the Jamaica Center for Tourism Innovation, JCTI, earlier this month. The expo featured exhibitions from various tourism stakeholders who exposed students to the variety of career options available to pursue. Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett encouraged the students to take advantage of the new tourism space as careers have moved beyond the traditional options.
What we want to expose you to is an infinite capacity to do, to be, to achieve, to innovate, and to convert the knowledge and information that you get at school into practical, meaningful, material activities and actions that have a price and a value.
Minister Bartlett added that tourism was the engine of Jamaica's economic growth.
Here in Jamaica, before COVID, tourism contributed directly 10% of the GDP. And we employed some 20% of the workforce. But we provide over 50% of the foreign exchange that Jamaica requires. And we have been responsible for growth of some 36% over the last 10 years.
The expo was organized by the Tourism Enhancement Fund, an agency of the Ministry of Tourism that is responsible for the growth and development of the sector. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
A roundup now of all that has happened in the office of the Prime Minister this past week.
Coming out of the office of the Prime Minister, states of emergency declared, and Prime Minister contributes to the national budget debate. I'm Vaughn Davis, and you're watching Jamaica House Weekly. States of public emergency SOEs are now in effect for the parishes of Clarendon and St. James. The Special Security Initiative, which started on March 14, will be in place for 14 days. In a press release last Tuesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said the SOEs are in response to an upsurge in criminal activities in the parishes. The Prime Minister says the declaration will allow the security forces to carry out targeted operations to dismantle criminal gangs and their networks while preventing serious crimes. Mr. Holness also urged citizens to cooperate with the security forces as they work to stop criminal activities. In his contribution to the 2023-24 budget debate in Parliament Thursday, Prime Minister Holness announced a raft of new measures to be implemented at the National Housing Trust (NHT). Among them, a new loan limit for single applicants of the trust. Come July 1, single applicants can access $7.5 million, up from $6.5 million. For houses being purchased for $12 million or less by a single contributor, that individual can now get up to $8.5 million in mortgage financing.
What this does is to target the incentive to more affordable priced housing solutions. Madam Speaker, this is to incentivize housing developments in the affordable housing for low-income earners section of the market. This will also create more effective demand for housing solutions at the targeted price point.
The NHT will continue to provide 100% financing for houses built by the Trust, subject to the availability of funding for such purposes. In addition, two persons applying jointly will be able to access funding of up to $15 million. The previous figure was $13 million. In 2022, the NHT reintroduced its policy to allow up to 3 contributors to co-apply for a single NHT scheme unit, 2-bedroom units or larger, to better improve affordability. A key provision of this policy is that proof must be established that the applicants are bona fide family members and have demonstrable kinship ties. Also, effective July 1, the NHT is to introduce a new interest rate band of 5% for persons earning over $100,000 weekly.
Less than 8% of contributors will fall in the new income band. So the higher interest rate will affect a small number of persons.
Still in Parliament Thursday, Prime Minister Holness announced a 44% increase in the national minimum wage. Effective June 1 this year, the current pay scale of $9,000 will move to $13,000 per 40-hour work week. Mr. Holness says his administration is fully committed to providing minimum wage earners with a livable income. He says since assuming office in 2016, the minimum wage has moved from $6,200 to $13,000, representing a 110% increase over the 7-year period.
We recognize that the contribution of minimum wage earners such as household workers, artisans, laborers, store clerks, and security personnel is vital to the success of our manufacturers, hotel professionals, lawyers, doctors, and teachers in meeting our national productivity and service targets.
As it relates to industrial security guards, Prime Minister Holness says the minimum wage will increase from $10,500 to $14,000 per week. This will also take effect June 1, 2023.
We have engaged employers in the security industry to improve the conditions of work for our security guards, ensuring that the necessary statutory payments are made so that they will qualify for housing and national insurance pension.
And finally, come April 1, pensioners will see an increase in the flat rate of their weekly minimum pension. The 74% increase will see a move from $1,700 to $3,000.
The pensioner who currently receive $2,550 per week will now receive $3,500 per week, a 37% increase, and those at the top will receive a 24% increase, moving from $3,000 to $4,200 per week.
Mr. Holness says the increase is based on the performance of the National Insurance Fund. It's also been spurred by a recommendation of actuaries completed in January this year, which show that the viability of the scheme has been extended for 15 years. The Prime Minister says Labour and Social Security Minister Carl Samuda will announce additional benefits soon. And this is where we close out Jamaica House Weekly. Join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
If you've ever wondered what your property taxes are used for, wonder no more. Your property taxes provide revenue for the provision of public and community amenities throughout Jamaica, which are delivered by local government officials. When you pay your property taxes, you aid with the maintenance and expansion of our street lighting to ensure you are not walking in the dark at nights, the collection and disposal of solid waste to prevent the pileup of garbage in communities, the improvement of our community infrastructure, and repairs to fire stations and service vehicles, along with rehabilitation of our roads. Pay your property taxes online, in line, or via mobile tax units and avoid being sought by the government. For more information, visit the Tax Administration website at www.jamaicatax.gov.jm or call 876-902-9463.
We continue our review of the Prime Minister's budget presentation. While speaking in the House of Representatives last week, Mr. Holness announced that the government will be making 10,000 black water tanks available to the households in need right across Jamaica. Let's hear more.
The following is an excerpt from the 2023-2024 budget presentation by Prime Minister the Most Honourable Andrew Holness.
I am happy to report that in the upcoming financial year, the government will make available 10,000 polyethylene water tanks to needs-assessed households across Jamaica, starting with a focus on the areas most affected by the drought. Households on path, households recommended by MPs and assessed by the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation will qualify for the tanks according to the rules of the program. All the tanks issued will be placed on our national GIS database. This will give us valuable information about household storage capacity and how to plan for the delivery of water to those tanks. Madam Speaker, a parallel project is to assist households to convert these tanks, where possible, into rainwater harvesting systems connected to their roof. The Hart NST Trust will be tasked with developing a national service corps of trainee plumbers and future water engineers to install these tanks and convert them into rainwater harvesting systems. This will be a 5-year program with the objective that every water-vulnerable household must have storage and rainwater capabilities to withstand drought and water service disruption. So, Madam Speaker, we're going to procure these 10,000 tanks starting the next financial year. If you are on path, you can apply for it. MPs are going to be asked to make recommendations. We will send out a team to assess that people really need it, or there is a facility to actually connect the tank. And Madam Speaker, we will do this for the next 5 years, so that we will get 50,000 tanks to households across Jamaica. And we will ask, as we have asked Hart Trust to develop a cadre of trainee plumbers and to train them in developing the skill of converting the rooftops into catchment areas flowing into these tanks. So with the accelerating adverse effects of climate change, droughts are likely to recur with increasing frequency and severity. Early in the new fiscal year, we will table a ministry paper with guidelines for rainwater harvesting, which will support town planning efforts as we mainstream and eventually move to make mandatory the practice of rainwater harvesting in driving water resilience.
If you're looking for a viable business venture, this next feature is for you. Among the many pursuits of the government to increase food security, fish farming is one. Watch now to learn more.
According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, in a 2011 UN-published report, Jamaica has one of the highest levels of fish consumption per capita in the Americas, with 30.6 kilograms of raw fish weight per annum. A substantial portion of the over 80% of marine fish consumed in Jamaica is, however, imported. The National Fisheries Authority is therefore focusing on tilapia production and marketing to meet the growing local appetite for fish. This has become necessary, especially due to the decline in coral reef fish stocks, the increasing demand for seafood, coupled with the huge untapped local market for tilapia, providing a perfect opportunity to increase import substitution.
Tilapia is very important to the Jamaica food security strategy. For one, it's a priority under the National Fisheries Authority as to increase food and nutritional security. There are a lot of agricultural lands available that are capable of having fish ponds on it. There's also other government agencies who are looking to collaborate with to be creating aquaculture parks where we'll be having multiple ponds where persons can come on to grow their fish there, where we'll have the setups. We're teaching our farmers to do this as a business, to do it technically sound, to use the technical advice that the NFA will provide for them so that they will be able to become more profitable, where the growth times will be shorter, where the quality of the fish will be better, where the consumer will be happier.
Getting started in fish farming, it's as easy as ABC. Persons first need to get in contact with the National Fisheries Authority. Then, someone from our office will actually come, speak to the person, make arrangement to come and visit the location, and then we'll do what we call a site evaluation. Your next step is to get registered with the National Fisheries Authority. Registration process is easy. You call our office, also someone will come and verify that you are a farmer, and you would need some items such as a government issued ID, 2 passport size pictures certified by a JP, fill out the application form, and only $600.
The local industry is regulated and supported by the government to ensure quality standards.
Farmers will have to maintain their water quality where possible. They can get it assessed if needed. If you are feeding your tilapia according to stocking density, making sure that they're getting the right quantity of feed, then it reduces the risk of you overfeeding the pond, and feed that is not eaten by the fish will then stay in the pond and become rotted. That will of course disrupt your water quality. This is the algae that they will feed on that will permeate through their system and causes the flesh to taste like mud.
Depending on the size of the pond, so if it's a 1 acre pond, well, that 1 acre pond can stock anywhere between 10 to 15,000 advanced fries, and those normally take 6 months to reach maturity.
If you live on your farm, it can be extremely profitable. You can make 50% on your investment in every crop. We look for ponds that are not aerated, not artificially aerated. We look for about 4,000 pounds per acre per crop, and ponds that are aerated, we look for between 6,500 to 8,000 pounds per acre. You have to maintain the best water quality possible, especially as you approach harvest time.
A lot of people in Jamaica don't really fully know about tilapia. I introduce it to a lot of people, and some of them are my best customers now. And before that, they never know much about tilapia.
Aquaculture, especially that of tilapia, can fill the gap in the health-conscious demand for quality seafood products. Its firm texture and mild flavor makes it ideal for a variety of cooking methods. Tilapia also offers several attractive benefits for the householder and food service providers. Its high appeal and high profit as a center-of-the-plate item. Menu versatility, as tilapia works well with many different flavor profiles. The fact that it is low in calorie and fat for healthy menu applications. It is free of saturated fats, high in omega-3 fatty acids, a good source of protein for weight management, a natural fish which originated in Africa.
You can have tilapia taste whatever way you want it to taste. If we get more Jamaicans supporting this and buying product Jamaica, because that's really what it is, because it's grown and produced here, it can do wonders for the economy.
And while the appetite for tilapia is big at home, this versatile product is increasing in popularity in North America and Europe, providing lucrative export potential.
The Integrity Commission is making a call for public officials and parliamentarians to submit paperwork declaring their assets, liabilities, and income. Here's more on the process.
If between January 1 and December 31, you are a parliamentarian or public official in receipt of total emoluments of $3.5 million or above, or you are appointed or perform the functions of a position listed in the Jamaica Gazette, December 14, 2022, regarding the Integrity Commission Act, you are required to file a statutory declaration of assets, liabilities, and income as at December 31. What to file? You are required to declare all balances and interest in all assets, liabilities, and income received by you, your spouse, and children below the age of 18, whether living in Jamaica or abroad. It should be noted that a person who knowingly makes a false statement in a statutory declaration may be liable to a fine not exceeding $2 million or to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 2 years. The Integrity Commission has implemented its zero-tolerance policy. All declarants are to submit all outstanding statutory declarations. Failure to submit a statutory declaration may attract a fine of not exceeding $500,000 or to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 6 months. The Integrity Commission has decentralized the collection of statutory declarations. Submit your statutory declarations for the previous calendar year securely within your organization on or before March 31 of the following year. Here's how. Firstly, complete your statutory declaration. Ensure you have entered the correct as-at date, for example, December 31, 2022. NA or C attached is never an appropriate response. Use none and list all required balances. Copy or print additional pages where necessary. Ensure all the sections are signed. A justice of the peace is required to validate your signature by signing, entering the date, location, and affixing their embossed seal. Attach the relevant supporting documents. ATM printouts are not accepted. You then proceed to your in-house collection point. Collect a statutory declaration envelope and security seal. Place the required information on the statutory declaration envelope, seal the envelope, and affix the security seal. Deposit the secure envelope in the Integrity Commission branded collection container or with your designated officer on or before March 31. Finally, enter your name and date of submission on the Integrity Commission log sheet. The designated officer should deposit the white copy of the log sheet in the collection container on April 1. Retain the yellow copy for the files and facilitate the submission of the collection container to the Integrity Commission. The Integrity Commission will register your statutory declaration and send you a receipt by email on or before May 13. After submission, the statutory declaration is examined for due completion and accuracy. Where the Integrity Commission is satisfied that the statutory declaration has been duly completed, certification is done and an advisory issued to the declarant. Submit your statutory declaration completely and accurately and get on the path to certification. For more information, visit our office on the 4th floor of the Sagicor Sigma building at 63 to 67 Knutsford Boulevard, Kingston 5, or give us a call at 876-968-6227 or 876-960-0470.
I hope you learned a lot today. Please continue your education by visiting our website at www.jis.gov.jam. You can watch a repeat of today's show or any other magazine program there. Until next time, I'm Theodore Henry. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.